Brand new CNN poll out today shows that Democrats' favorability among Americans is at its lowest point in the history of CNN's polling back to 1992. Only 28% of Americans view the Democratic Party favorably. How can you guys turn that around?
I think you have to find, there'll never be a real party leader until we have a nominee for president, but we are moving into a midterms. And CNN has been covering who is motivated to show up in a midterm within the latest polling. And there's a lot of motivation there. I can go back to remember working in the 1996 congressional elections when we were trying to make up for just losing like 60 seats. After a president's elected, normally we do well, and I think that's what we're looking towards the future.
And Brian, what do you think? I mean, it is true. 72% of Democrats and Democratic-aligned voters say they are motivated to go in the midterms. How does your party tap in to Republican enthusiasm that right now seems wanting in a lot of ways?
You know, listen, I think we go back to what's always worked for us. Promises made, promises kept. As of right now, inflation is lower today than when President Trump took office. Gas prices are lower today than when President Trump took office. You know, the price of eggs are lower. So he's going to make the economic message. We just need to make sure that it extends for another year and a half so that the voters continue to feel it. But I think that's the only way is, you know, we made a promise to the American people. We've delivered on these promises, and that's what should be character. We'll see if it carries.
I'm sure you have something to say about the promises made, promises kept.
Look, if you talk to people right now about the big, beautiful bill that was passed and folks getting lost off of Medicare and SNAP, that by itself will be enough for me to run every midterm election I need to win.
What about your concerns, if any, about MAGA being so upset about the failure to release the Epstein files and the fact that Elon Musk comes out, says Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, which I have personally no evidence of, but he did say that. And then a month later, Pam Bondi and the Justice Department put out this document saying nothing to see here, folks. And a lot of people in MAGA world, as I don't need to tell you, Tucker Carlson all the way down, are very upset about this.
I mean, listen, we're 2 weeks into this. It doesn't seem like it's going to be stopped. I think the president has to figure out what type of valve that he can release so that some movement takes place, because the status quo is just not working within the base. Even going further, you know, my mother, you know, she only speaks Spanish, watches Spanish language, liberal to the extreme. She's asking me about the Epstein files and say, why isn't Donald Trump releasing?
How do you say Epstein files in Spanish?
I don't even know.
Epstein files?
Yeah, Epstein files.
What I was going to say is midterms are only about one thing. They've always been about one thing. It's motivation, because a big group of people don't show up to vote in an off-year election.
Right.
Motivation right now to me is more important than popularity. I think you will find your local candidate who they'll like, who's running for Congress or a candidate, and that's the biggest difference. Is we have to keep our people motivated, and every time Epstein or even giving war or giving things to Ukraine will make them mad. Hell, they're even mad because they think that Superman is woke. There's something making their base mad every day.
Do you agree with that?
Listen, I think our base is happy with the progress they're making, that President Trump is making. But yeah, they are frustrated with the fact that the shine, at least for 4 years, the shine of the American spirit was harmed by Joe Biden. Whether it's their domestic policies, whether it's border policies or anything, and so they're eager to have that restored. They see President Trump doing. They just wish more was happening.
Just for the record, Superman isn't woke. It's a pretty apolitical movie. I don't know if either one of you saw it, but
I'm going there this Saturday with my kid.
Yeah, I took my daughter. First time she hasn't looked at her phone during a movie in her entire life.
Oh, that's all. I think that's enough for me. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no politics in it. It's just fun.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, Brian Lanza, Chuck Rocco, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Why are you doing this? This is outrageous.
This is a kangaroo court. That's all we have here,
This
Mr.
is
Chairman.
wrong. This is us simply trying to rush through one of the most controversial nominees we've had under this presidential administration. What is Donald Trump saying to you that are making you do something which is violating the decorum of this committee?
Democrats walking out of a Senate Judiciary Committee meeting and boycotting the vote on Emil Bovee. That's President Trump's former personal attorney and now nominee for a lifetime appeals court appointment. Bovee had recently been vexed by a whistleblower complaint that alleges he said in a March meeting the Justice Department would, quote, need to consider telling the courts, F you, unquote, if they stood in the way of Trump's deportation efforts. And joining us now is a member of the Judiciary Committee, Democratic Senator Peter Welch of Vermont. Senator, thank you so much for being here. You, of course, part of this today. How do you think that walking out in this instance helps the overall cause here?
You know, I'm not sure it did, because Bovee got appointed. He got the vote of the Republicans. But the reason we had to walk out is that we were shut down. The rules explicitly allow for a vote on a point of order. And Chairman Grassley, who I have a great deal of respect for, let us down today. And it was because they wanted to shove through this nomination of a person who is extraordinarily unqualified, and his only qualification is his personal and deep loyalty to whatever it is Donald Trump wants. So we got shut down. We were there just as tokens, not as deliberative senators who had a chance to raise the concerns that are just very powerful and legitimate concerns about Beauvais. So very disappointing. Bad day for the Judiciary Committee. My view, bad day for the Senate. The night before was a bad day for the whole Senate as well and the whole appropriations process.
Sir, it also does underscore the degree to which Democrats don't have tools at their disposal to fight back against President Trump's agenda, which of course voters are telling us in our polls they're unhappy with the party. I mean, some of the lowest approval ratings for the party in over 30 years. What else can you do?
You know, there's a reality here, okay? We have 47 votes in the Senate, they have 53. We can demand, as we did today, that at least the rules be followed, and then do something that's very unusual, show our protest when the rules are violated. We're not even allowed to speak by walking out, and at least showing folks that we're serious about having the power of our voice be heard in a committee. There's a disappointment here. We don't have the votes to be able to overcome the power grab that Trump is imposing and my Republican colleagues are acceding to. You know, there's a second issue here. Beauvais, I think, is totally unqualified. He's the guy who was totally fired the prosecutors who went after the cop beaters on January 6th. He's the total Trump loyalist. He has no intellectual background as a justice. But what is happening here, and it's disappointing to me, is my Republican colleagues are ceding to Trump the final decision when it's their decision. You know, those of us in the Senate have a responsibility to the institution, not just to the president. And I hope I would act this way if there were a Democratic president, and that is to make certain that we were an independent branch and didn't buckle just because the president threatened to primary us. That's what happened to Susan Collins the night before in the so-called rescission package.
Sir, on a different subject matter, obviously the president today came out and said that, or I should say the White House spokeswoman, Caroline Leavitt, said that the president does not support a special counsel to look into the Epstein files and the Epstein investigation. Do you think it was appropriate or is appropriate for the president to weigh in on this matter in this way?
I think it would be appropriate for the president to turn over and release the documents. I mean, he's the one who stirred this whole thing up, right? Epstein. And he is the one who made an enormous amount of political capital by bonding with the QAnon supporters. And he is now breaching the trust he established with them because he made them think he was serious about Epstein. He was serious about disclosing that information. Now he's betrayed him. We have no idea why. Suddenly, Bondi, who had the client list, doesn't want to release it, or it doesn't exist. So there's an incredible trust issue, a breach of trust by the president with folks who he incited to believe that there was relevant information there about the elites, and now he's sitting on it. So we don't need a special prosecutor. We need full disclosure.
So, I mean, that I guess is my question to you. Do you think there should be a special counsel appointed?
I think the president should just release the documents. We don't have to make a big deal out of this. We just have to see what he knows and what he has and what Bondi is sitting on. Keep in mind, she is the one who was bragging about having the client list, all right? So you've got it, share it.
Sir, do you think that the Biden administration should have been more transparent with the Epstein files? Should we have learned more about this when he was president of the United States?
I would have been totally fine with the president, Biden, totally disclosing what he had, all right? What you didn't have was Biden making claims like Bondi has, that she's got the client list and suggesting that there are all these elites whose names are on it. But the transparency on this public issue should apply to both administrations. But it's really a different situation because of how it's been escalated by Trump.
Yeah, fair enough.